Hey everyone, tonight I'm going to do something that I don't really do ever, but I thought I would give it a go. I've seen quite a few videos like this, so I thought I'd maybe do a quick tool review. Everybody does tool reviews, it seems like, but I've got one here. I've recently purchased a product that I've liked a lot, and it seems to do better than others that I've bought in the past similarly. So here it is. This is a screwdriver set from Harbor Freight. Now, admittedly, Harbor Freight stuff is typically pretty inexpensive, pretty cheap, if you will. But I've had good luck with this. It's a little multi-piece hex shank screwdriver set. Again, from Harbor Freight. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but on their website it's listed for $6.99. And you know, these can be kind of hit or miss, and this one seems to stand out in that it seems to be a little better quality than most of the others that I've had. If you're like me, you've had several sets of small, fine-tipped screwdrivers, and if you're also like me, you've probably thrown out a set or two because something has gone wrong. Either you've stripped the bits, or the driver itself has turned out to be kind of dodgy. In this set's case, neither one of those things has happened to me anyway. The first thing that I found was rather impressive is this driver seems to be fairly sturdy. I've had other sets. In fact, the most recent set that I had a driver. It looked similar to this, but it was shaped a little bit differently. It was red, and it was from Radio Shack, which I know that's always a bad idea, buying tools from Radio Shack. If you're that hard up, it shouldn't be, but what can I say? I was young and stupid. But what I ran into with that set was that the metal insert here that the bits are received into would actually turn in the plastic handle, rendering it rather useless. You couldn't apply much torque at all using their set. It would just spin. And it was like that more or less from the beginning. So that set went in the trash pretty quickly. Now, ordinarily, I would just say, well, if it works, it's doing its job. And I didn't expect much more out of this set. In fact, I got it thinking it would be a kind of a disposable set. It was, again, it's $6.99, at least listed now for that much, so it's very inexpensive. I'm sure the Radio Shack set that I purchased was more along the lines of $20, which, again, I was young and stupid. But so I didn't expect a whole lot out of this set, but recently I used it to take apart an old car stereo that had been subject to weather, and it used Torx fasteners, which the set has several Torx fasteners, but it used Torx fasteners, and most of them were rusted pretty solidly, and I was actually unable to hold this shank by hand firmly enough to turn the fasteners. But you'll notice here on the handle it has some flats. It's kind of difficult to see in the camera, but if you turn it this way, these two faces where my fingers are flat, and I'm sure they're not intended for this purpose, but I actually put an open-end wrench on this screwdriver, and the handle flexed a bit, but it didn't strip out up here, and I was able to take out all of the rusted fasteners from that car stereo and completely disassemble it. It did twist a bit. I have a feeling that this is kind of a rubbery plastic under here. You can get a little bit of a bend on it, but not much. I wouldn't try to break it, but it didn't fail under that kind of load, which is kind of the first thing that I noticed about this set that set it apart from the others. And the next thing is that these bits haven't hinted at stripping for me yet. I haven't had any trouble at all with these bits. Again, if you're like me, especially your small flat-bladed bits, especially if you use them for things that they're not meant for, like prying on things and turning fasteners that they don't exactly fit into, you'll notice pretty quickly that the corners will get knocked off of them, and that they will strip pretty badly. And I haven't had that happen to any of these. I've had sets that the Torx bits have stripped before, and even under that kind of extreme test that I gave it with the car stereo, none whichever one of these Torx bits, and I can't remember which one, but none of them have any stripping, any damage whatsoever. We didn't lose any of the corners off of any of the lobes on any of these. So it's very, very, very hard steel in that regard. I don't know what kind of steel it is. It's not marked on the packaging or anything. But as you can see, you have a pretty decent array of bits here. It comes with a T4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then it skips to T15 and T20. So it's a fairly comprehensive set of Torx bits there. And then you've got your small flat blades. This is a 1/16th, a 5/64th, a 3/32nd, an 1/8th, and 9/64th, and a 5/32nd flat blade there. It goes on to the Phillips bits. Then this is a Phillips 00, a Phillips 0, Phillips 1, and a Phillips 2. And then you have some hex bits. This is a 0.035, and then a 0.05, a 1/16th, a 5/64th, and then we've got a 3/32nd bit, an 1/8th, a 5/32nd bit, which this is a 5/32nd hex shank set, by the way. It's the smaller size of your hex shank screwdriver sets. Okay, and it has a round. It's marked 0 round bit. This is just almost like a probe or an awl almost. And my camera's not focusing at all, and I apologize for that. Then you have this, and the package calls it a tri-wing bit. This is a number 1 tri-wing bit, which is a kind of a security bit. It's like a what you would have on a tamper-proof. And I can't really get a good shot of it there, but it's very similar to a Phillips, except it has 3 lobes instead of 4. But that's kind of a tamper-proof bit there. And you have a triangle bit. This is a 2.3 triangle bit. And then there is a 2.0 spanner. Now, while this is this is generally a good set, there are some kind of chintzy bits. The case is not too bad. It comes in this little folding case, which it has a kind of a double hinged arrangement here. Definitely better than bending plastic. I've seen those kinds of cases, and I've seen worse hinges. The case has a couple windows in it. They're not broken yet. My Radio Shack kit and other sets, that's usually about the first thing to go. Is that window. And as for the case itself, it seems to retain the bits pretty well. One thing I kind of like is that it's not difficult to get the bits out and put them back in. That's a kind of a real pain in the ass with some of these sets. Trying to get these out, you almost need to use another tool to get them out. It's not too bad. And one thing that I don't know if it's meant to do this, but one thing that I tend to do in order to keep track of all my bits so that I don't lose any of them is if I'm using different bits for a job, when I put them back, I'll just leave them standing up like that. And then I have quick access to them, and I know which ones I need to use. That helps with sizing of things like Torx bits and things like that. Now, with this case, of course, you can close it. On the website, on the picture, it shows some kind of a stand-up arrangement here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you see they show it being used as kind of a stand for the case. That doesn't really work. I mean, you can try to set it up like that, but it's just going to lay down on you. It doesn't really do that. I didn't buy it for the case or for a kickstand case or anything like that, so I bought it for the bits, which seemed to be great. at least so far. So if you ask me if this is worth $7 to have it in your toolbox, absolutely, I would get one.